Greetings, all you manics and like rhymes, and today is another talking fiction, but it is more so just a sort of like discussion or a look at a certain character's alignment. So, here's the question: how would you describe Vergil from Devil May Cry? So, what I mean by that is he a villain? Is he an anti-villain? Is he an anti-hero? Is he just a simple antagonist? Is he a pure evil villain? There is, well, okay, let's just first start off and go through some of the terminology. An anti hero, in sort of like a quick way of describing it, although it is more nuanced than this, is someone who does bad things for good reasons. So let's take a character that, say, kills a bunch of mob bosses. He murdered a lot of people, but they were bad people, and they were probably responsible for hurting a lot of people and other doing really bad things. The ends justify the means. Now, anti-heroes are a dime a dozen nowadays. It's everywhere. You have classics like Wolverine and Deadpool, and then you have some people that would say Vegeta from Dragon Ball Super is an anti-hero. I don't really think that. I think Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z, especially early Dragon Ball Z, is more anti-hero, but he was a villain that became an anti-hero. But regardless, this is not about Vegeta. This is about Vergil. So, now what about an anti-villain? That's a term I don't think a lot of people really know about. So, in essence, an anti-villain does good things, genuine good things, for selfish or ulterior motives. Like, say, they save a bunch of people, but those people are evil and make him a super weapon so he can use later, but in a discreet way. That's kind of like the gist of it. And then you have your typical, pure evil villains, and you have your righteous heroes. Vergil, in my opinion, doesn't really fit an anti-hero or an anti-villain, like especially an anti-hero. He never really did anything good. In Devil May Cry 3, this is the guy that tried to kill his own ally, tried to kill his brother on multiple occasions, and just wanted power. Nothing else. He didn't care if he killed Dante. All he wanted was the Force Edge and the two amulets. That's all he cared about, getting his father's power so he could kill Mundus. Now, some people might be saying, okay, he's killing he would kill Mundus, that's good, but he would take Mundus's place, so he would still be a villain. A villain that did something kind of good, but he would still be a villain. He would have killed his own blood for a throne, effectively. That's bad. And he's not an anti-villain because he's not doing good things during Devil May Cry 3 at all. You could say he teamed up with Dante. That doesn't really count. There are other stories out there where the bad guy teams up with the good guy every now and then. It happens. It doesn't mean that the villain is suddenly a good person. Hell, it happens with Batman and Joker in some of the DC comics. That doesn't mean that the Joker is suddenly an anti-villain or a good person. No, the Joker has really never done anything good in his life. He is a pure villain. Kind of the same way, sort of, with Vergil. Now, what about Devil May Cry 5? Well, Devil May Cry 5, he was half absent through the entire thing because his devil half was Urizen and his human half was V. V did some good-ish. He also did mug a guy in the manga, but okay. Yeah, V is a hard one because I would say he is not really an anti-hero, and I would also not say he's a villain. He's a really hard one to nail down. Definitely a protagonist, but one with ulterior motives. His motives being to rejoin with his double side to become Vergil once again, to become whole. But Vergil is willing to kill tens of thousands of people to get this goal. So he's not an anti-hero at all. So stop labeling Vergil as an anti-hero. He isn't. Maybe in Devil May Cry 6 he'd be more anti-hero-ish, but we don't have Devil May Cry 6 yet. And at this rate, I don't know if we ever will. So let's move on. He's also not an anti-villain because the Qui-Fot thing was not good for anybody. It only benefited him. So, Urizen is purely villainous. Same kind of thing with Vergil. So, you see the dilemma here. Now, some people might be saying, well, at the end, Dante and Vergil are like working through each other, through issues and everything and bonding. That's great. This means that Vergil is on a redemption arc. So, Vergil is one of those villains, I do believe he is a villain, that is really hard to actually put a label to. He is definitely not an anti-hero or an anti-villain. How I would describe him, especially in Devil May Cry 3, is an antagonist that is a megalomaniac, might makes right type of character. He doesn't care who he harms or kills in order to get his goal. And if he actually did kill Dante and took the amulets and the Force Edge and made the Double Sword Sparta and got enough power to actually kill Mundus, because he probably could have, he would more than likely just replace Mundus as the Prince of Darkness. So it would amount to nothing, really. He might have felt satisfied, but he would have killed his own brother. But he would see his brother as weak. Now, he did, in fact, screw some bitch in Fortuna and make Nero. That doesn't make him, an edgy anti-hero or an anti-villain or something. Oh, he's so bad. You don't understand him. I can fix him. No. He did that, in my personal opinion. I don't ever think it was explained. I think he just wanted to feel like what love felt like, but then thought it was weakness, and then just dipped, not even knowing that he impregnated a girl. So, that's a bit of a yikes. Vergil is definitely a loner antagonist. Definitely an antagonist. Is he the big bad of the franchise? For 2 games? Pretty much yes. But for all the others, not really. It all kind of goes back to Sparta and Mundus in a way, one way or another. Now, if Devil May Cry 6 happens, I could see Mundus as being the final boss and them actually finally killing Mundus. I'm hoping for a family jackpot. That'd be fucking awesome. That'd be one hell of a way to end the series. So, here is my final verdict on Vergil Sparta's son. How would I describe him in Devil May Cry 3 and Devil May Cry 5? I'm just going to lump them together. I would say antagonist, not necessarily a villain, definitely not a hero, not an anti-hero, or definitely not an anti-villain. He is an antagonist that is selfish and power-hungry. That is how I would describe him. If that's an archetype, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know the name of it. But he isn't an anti-hero. He isn't an anti-villain. And he's sure as fuck not a normal hero. He's not a hero at all. At all. Not heroic at all. But villain antagonist, sort of. You see, he is kind of difficult to describe. So, I don't know. A lot of people are probably going to disagree with me and think he definitely is an anti-villain. Also, by the way, just because he has some sort of code of honor, which is bullshit, he doesn't use firearms. And that's not a code of honor. He just has a katana. That doesn't mean code of honor. Like, yeah, he practices Ido. Is it Ido? It's some form of katana martial art. It's definitely based off of that. No, there really is no, honor. He's not some rogue samurai, aka a Ronin. He's not a Ronin. He's not anything like that. He's an antagonist. He's pretty damn evil. He only cares about himself and doesn't really care about anybody else. But in the end of Devil May Cry 5, he did seem to care, or at least intrigued by his son Nero, who kicked his ass, and his brother. So, I do think he is an antagonist on the path of becoming some form of anti-hero. Although, in Devil May Cry 6, I don't see him saving people all the time. I see him being reluctant to do it, or Dante having to show, just why they have to protect humanity and everything. So, Vergil can change. I do think he's on a redemption arc. I really hope they don't make him relapse because I think that'd be stupid. But Vergil is a very complicated character. He has there's so much going on with him. But he is sure as shit not an anti hero or an anti villain. He isn't. Just straight up. Those archetypes do not fit Vergil at all. Classifying him is very difficult, but I think I did an okay job. Anyway, that concludes this episode of Talking Fiction. I wanted to talk about this because this has been sort of a big debate in the Devil May Cry community. How would you classify Vergil? Me, power-hungry antagonist that is an absolute megalomaniac. Not entirely purely 100% devil evil, but certainly not good in any sort of and basically zero redeeming qualities, especially Devil May Cry 3 Vergil. Devil May Cry 5 Vergil on the path of redemption. However, this is also the dude that killed tens of thousands of people just so he could survive and rejoin with himself so he could be not dying. So, yeah, not exactly a role model. Yikes. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, in Trilby, we trust.